and that will be sent out at the end of the week, so you can review this and you can pass it on to your team so they can watch it and learn how the program works. If you go to our memorybook.com website, our main company website, up here in the top toolbar, there's a MemoryBook online login. If you click on that, it's going to take you to the login screen, and you should have received your login information in an email, and you also should have received a kit. If you haven't gotten either one of those, you want to be sure to visit with your customer rep, and we can get that sent out to you right away. You'll enter in your job number. The default for the year is 2023. So if you're still working on a last year's book, you'll need to use 2022 there and the information you have to log into that book. But you're going to enter your job number and your password and your username, and then you'll click Let's Go. The Forget Password, if you click on that, it's going to send you a link that you can change your password, and it's going to go to the email that is in our customer information screen. So you want to make sure that's up to date. So let's go. Here is your welcome screen, and there's under the due date countdown, I don't have a date entered in for this demo account, so I don't have a deadline, but this is going to be the deadline. It's going to tell you how many hours and how much time you have left to work on your book before you need to hit that submit button and submit all your pages to us. Now, if you need to change that, you need to visit with your customer rep and let them know that you're going to miss that date or you need to have that adjusted so that we don't miss your delivery. Here is the total pages. When you first log in, it's going to say however many pages you have in here not started. So this little circle, this graph is all going to be red. And as you progress along, you've got how many pages are in progress, how many are completed and submitted, and so on. Here under upcoming events, you'll see where your cover needs to be submitted, and it's going to be a reminder to tell you to get your class photos submitted so that we can get those uploaded for you. But this will be any upcoming events or dates you're going to need to remember or know. And under the tasks, you can actually add tasks to this. So if you're having a meeting, you can add the meeting under the tasks here, and everyone will be able to see it when they log in. They can go to the task here and view all the upcoming events that you've got scheduled. The tagged images, you don't need to use that or be concerned about that unless you're working with your activity images and you want to tag all of those so that you can kind of keep track of how many times a student is in the book. Here in your images, this is just giving you a brief overview of the images that are in your image library. Okay, so let's move on to the plan section. And in the plan section, this is where your page ladder is. And so the way these pages are laid out is exactly how they're going to be laid out in the book. So page 1 is going to be over here on the right by itself. Over here would be the back of the cover or the end sheet that's on a hardback or case-bound book. So 2 and 3 will be opposing, 4 and 5, 6 and 7, and so on. So this is all the inside pages of your book. And I know it seems like it would make more sense to have page 1 to be the front cover and the last page to be the back cover, but it's not that way. These are actually the first and the last pages of the book. And over here is this teal colored toolbar when you first log in. You can load last year's descriptions and sections, and what that's referring to is this area right here. So I've got page 2, this is going to be my PTA section. So if I wanted to put a brief description on what the page would be, I could say like group photo. and that helps you stay organized and kind of, if you've got several people working on your book, that'll help also everybody know what needs to go on those pages. So once you make a change here, you need to go up here to Save All. But if you filled this area in last year and you load last year's descriptions and sections, then that same information will pop forward here into the page ladder. And you can always go in and change that. You don't, just because you move it forward doesn't mean you're locked in to using that particular lineup. In your load last year's page designs is the same thing. When you load those, the templates are going to pop onto the page exactly like they were last year when you submitted the pages. The text boxes and the image boxes are all going to go back to the default setting. So your text will just be that Latin default text and the image boxes will be empty. But that's kind of an easy way to get started, and you can always modify what's on the page. You can change the template or start all over on that page, but it kind of gives you a head start as far as planning out your pages. Over here at the left, we have these filters. When you assign people to different pages, you can go here to your all staff and you can choose which person you want to see has those pages in progress. So these are the only pages that Megan Elliott is able to work on. But you want to go back and set that to all staff so that all your pages show up again. All deadlines. This is a new feature. Most of them won't have a deadline, so all deadlines needs to be in that filter so you can see all your pages. All page types. You can change some pages to black and white and color. You want to visit with your customer rep about that though. But basically your book's going to be set up however you've decided. If you wanted an all black and white book, the pages are going to be set up that way. If it's all color, the pages are going to be set up that way. All page statuses. So you could go in here and you can see which ones are in progress. So all of these have the yellow border. That means they're in progress, and that's the only ones showing right now. So you go back to all page statuses, and then if you go through and you lock pages, you can also choose locked and unlocked. I didn't lock any of these pages, so they're all showing. Sometimes you accidentally click in these filters, and so all of your pages don't show up. When you call tech support, we'll help you get back there, but basically you want these all to say all. And you can go down through them and kind of adjust them. The status colors, red is not started, yellow is in progress, green is completed, and black is submitted. So when you get your page designed the way you want it, you'll click the complete button. It's going to give you a warning as to maybe there's empty image boxes or text boxes there that you need to address. And then you would need to view a proof, and you could go ahead and submit the pages. Once you submit your pages, all of these buttons or options are going to be gone. It would just be a blank here, and then your outline of your page is going to be black like it's submitted. In this top blue toolbar, the Save All, if you've gone in here and made any changes in your section to descriptions, or maybe changed staff members to work on a page, you'll go over here and you'll click Save All. Under the print icon, you could print all your pages. When you click on that, it's going to create a PDF of your whole book, and you'll be able to download that and save it to your computer. And that might be a good way to view the proof. If you want other people to go through and proofread it and things, you can go here and print all your pages and save that PDF and then print it out for them to look through and mark on. The print the page ladder, it's just going to give you a little small page ladder skeleton that you can fill out. So if you wanted to take it home and fill it out in the evening and then come back in to school the next day, you could come in here and type in your information that you've decided that goes along with your pages. Under the actions, you'll use that whenever you're getting ready to complete and submit your book. Basically, when you click this little box, it selects all the pages at once, and you could go through and complete them all at once. But at this point, I don't want to do that, so I'm going to uncheck that. You also have a display range, so if you wanted to just see pages 1 through 16, 17 through 32, and so on, you can do that. If you have a really large book, maybe over 100 pages, you'd want to use that display range and then maybe use that to print your PDF so that the PDF wouldn't be so large and it would not take quite as long to generate. Over here is the page mover. Once you've designed your pages and whatnot, and maybe you need to make a last minute change, you want to move page 18 up to page 14, then that's where you go to do your page mover. When you're moving your pages, you don't want to have any of your pages locked, and you don't want to have any of them completed or submitted because the pages won't shuffle correctly, and that can be kind of a nightmare to get that straightened out. I think that pretty much covers everything here on the ladder. So the next step, let's go over and we're going to create staff members so that they can go through and you can assign pages and they can go in and design pages. So when you get in here under the staff, you can click the Add Staff button. You'll need to enter in their first and last name. The username, you're going to need to think of something. I would keep it kind of simple, something that you can remember. And then the password, there is a criteria that you need to follow to create a password. Let's see if it tells us here. Okay, it has to be a minimum of 10 characters, lowercase letter, an uppercase letter, a number. And then also the passwords need to match. So if you call us and ask us what so-and-so's password is, we won't be able to see that. You would need to go back in as the advisor and make a new password for them. You'll want to put in this email, and that's going to give them the option to reset their password. It's going to send an email to that address. And if you're the advisor and you're working with a group of students, you may want to make that email be your email so that any email password changes comes to you, and then you can go in and do this for them. Now, as far as roles, the advisor has the most access to everything in the program. That's what you want to log in and use whenever you're working on your book, and you will have to submit your pages and complete them. The editor has a little bit more privileges than a staff, but a staff member is able to upload pictures, they're able to design pages, but they cannot delete pictures out of the image library, and they can't move pages. And there was something else they can't do. But if you want to see what the different roles are, you can go to page 167 in the manual, and it'll kind of give you a description of the privileges for each role. So once you've created that, you'll click Save. I'm going to click Cancel, and then they'll come up here in the list of different users. So if you have a group of students, you'll want to give them the role of staff because you don't want them to be able to go in and move pages and change things around a lot, because the advisor login can override anything that's been done by editor or staff and change the page status. You can also come in and make them inactive. If they're done with their pages, you could come in here and turn off their login so they wouldn't be able to log in anymore. You can delete their login. You can go in, you'll click the edit button if you need to go in and change and assign a new password. So once you have those all created, you can go back to your page ladder, and you can assign them different pages. Now, if you have all of your pages assigned to different people, then they will only be able to use their login and work on that specific page. So here behind the word staff, if you click your mouse on the word unassigned, you can, in your drop down, it'll show you who you have made your staff logins for, and then you can assign that page to someone. So I've got my pages, these 2 pages assigned to John Smith. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. So now when John logs in, they'll only be able to work on these 2 pages. They'll be able to see the other pages, but they can't edit them. But any of these unassigned pages, they would be able to go in and work on. Okay, so that's how you assign pages to people. Now let's go on to the font selection. And an advisor is the only one that can go in and add fonts. There are only 2 fonts that are set up to begin with in your program. And if you want to use those 2, that's quite all right. But if you want to add a little bit of pizzazz and have a different choice on fonts, you'll go here in the plan to fonts, and you can choose these different fonts. You can click on the font. It'll show you a preview over here. In the design and creation section, you can go to page 235, and it's going to have a list of all the fonts available in the program. You want to keep your font list sort of small so that you don't have a lot of fonts in there to choose from. You want to, for more consistency through the book, you want to keep your font list kind of short and just to a few. If you want to see some fonts that complement each other, on page 178, you can go there and check those out. So when you add a font, we're going to add this one. It's called Angst. You click it, and you would think that little button down there would turn purple, but it actually jumps to the top of the list, and you can see here it's active. So it's going to be available whenever you go to the design section, and it'll be in the list of available fonts. Now, as far as the styles, if you want a particular style for a headline or maybe a caption under a picture, you can come here and you can create a new one. We're going to add a style here, and I'm going to call it caption. Well, if I get my fingers on the right letters. And you can choose I'm going to name this caption 2. And I'm going to keep it with the angst that we chose. And I know it needs to be pretty small, but for now I'm just going to make it 12. And I want to keep the font attributes normal, so I'm going to click Save. Now when I go to a page, that caption 2 option is going to be there, and we can just drag it over, and it'll be formatted with the right font and the right size. I'll show you that in just a second. But that's an easy way to make your designing go a little faster. You have those all pre-designed. Okay, so now let's go to our ReplayIt private photo submission. And what this is, it's a separate website where you can send the link to your yearbook team or parents or your teachers, and they can actually upload pictures directly into the program, but they're not really getting into the program to see the pages, to see anything else. They're just giving you images to work with. If you need to know more about that, that's on page 179 in the manual. You'll want to just go down through the list here to activate it. So you'll click the do you want to have a website for parents and others to upload images for the yearbook staff use? You'll click yes, that little bitty check mark. You'll want to enter in a date with this format, and you want to keep in mind you won't be able to test that replay it, how it works until that date comes due. So it's not going to be active until that particular date you put in there. And then an end date, you'll want to keep in mind if it's after the first of the year, be sure you put 23 in here. And then choose a time that maybe is about a month ahead of when you want to submit your book, so that if you have people submitting pictures, it's not right up there to the end and you get in there and look and you're like, oh, I wish I could have used that one earlier. And it keeps you from having to redesign a whole lot. This ID is the number they'll need whenever they go to log in, if they don't have the link or don't have that handy in the link. You don't need to change this amount in this little box. Do you want the site enabled? You click that. It's going to give you this link right here. And this is the link that you want to copy and paste into a Word document or an email. And that's going to give them that direct access to that ReplayIt upload screen where they can go in and upload images. Okay. Just a moment, I need to see about the sound here. Okay. Alrighty, so let's go here and I will show you how to change or how to get last year's images if you're wanting to use some of those, and last year's templates. So when you have the ReplayIt activated, this is where the images will go in this very first inbox, ReplayIt. Now a staff member won't have access to this. The editor and the advisor, I believe, are the only ones that can see this. So if you've got the ReplayIt turned on and you've got a lot of images in here, you may want to get someone to come in and help you sort them. And if you didn't give them access, advisor access, then you can always come down here and create a folder. And I've created one called Image Share. And then whenever you could just select all these images in here and you could just move them down into that image share, and then the staff member could go in and help you sort them, so they could create folders and help you drag the images into the correct folders. And you won't have access to this inbox ReplayIt whenever you go to your pages to work on your pages, so they do have to be down here in these active folders. So to see images from last year, you would log into last year's book, your 2022 book, and then you'll go here, you'll click on the folder, and right here there should be a button that says 2023. And so when you click on that, it's going to move it forward to this year's book. So then you'll log out of that book and you'll go in here and you'll see my 2022 images, and these are those images that you've moved forward. Now you'll have to select the images you want to use and move them into a current folder you have over here, because you won't have access when you go into your pages to get them out of this 2022 images. So if you have a school logo or a picture of the school, or maybe you have a principal's picture and they don't like to get their picture taken every year, so you use the same one, you could go in and move that folder forward and then come in here to your 2022 images and be able to move it over and use it. So now if you had templates that you want to use from last year, you would need to log into last year's book, and you would go in and you would save those pages, and you can name them specific things if it helps you to stay organized. And then anything that you've saved from last year is going to be in here under Custom, under Designs, Custom, My 2022 Templates. So these are all templates that I've saved from last year. So what you can do is just go over here and you can move the template over to the page. Do you want to retain existing content? I'm going to say no, so it'll override what's on the page. Now, if I had already placed backgrounds and stuff, I would have wanted to say yes, so that the background would stay there. And if you'll notice here, instead of the default text, this being the Latin, it actually says candidates, and that's what I saved last year. I had the heading that said candidates here. So if there's a template that maybe you have baby pictures and a class picture and some information with it, maybe some generic questions you ask, and you don't want to retype and recreate those every time, you could log into last year's book and just save it as a template. And then when you move it over, that text will be there. Now you would have to delete the last student's information, like whatever their answer was to the question and whatnot, but at least the basic setup would be there and you wouldn't have to retype everything. Okay, the next thing I want to remind everybody, I want you to be sure to send us your photos on CD, the link or the CD, so that we can get your images uploaded, your class portraits uploaded, and get those ready for you to create your class pages. Whenever you send us that link, we're going to go in and we'll download the pictures and we'll do some pre-flight on the Excel sheet and whatnot. And when we get them uploaded, we'll send you an email and you'll be able to find them here in the image library under portrait. And you'll click on the little arrow to the left and it's going to open up all of the folders that are in there. So if you upload your own portraits, your images aren't going to be tagged. And if they're not tagged, they're just going to flow over onto the page just in no particular order. It's probably going to be the image number order. And so you would have to go in and manually tag all your images so that they'll flow in alphabetically. If you'll notice here, these are all in here alphabetically by their last name. Okay, let me go through my questions here. I haven't been able to log in as the advisor, only as staff. If you are the advisor, then you'll need to call your customer rep or tech support and we can give you your login information so that you can get logged in. And we may need to just reset that login. I do want to caution you too, if you go in here to your staff login, and this first last, this is the one that we assign you or the program creates for you. And so is this one under the staff. If you go in here and you edit anything on that, then that undoes any of the information we've sent you. You wouldn't be able to log in with that information. You'd have to have us reset it for you again. And I'm sorry, I have one sorry. Can you repeat the last thing you said? If you can let me know whereabouts we were, I can do that. Do we have any other questions?
Yes, I have a question. This
Okay.
is Janine. Hi. I think I have my cover in the cart. We picked we picked a cover and the back cover, the book bag one. Now we want on the back cover it's a blank white cover sort of. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes.
But we want the fifth grade graduates' names on it. So I don't want to, I'm afraid to check out because I have to then like attach, I guess, an email to Crystal, who's our advisor, with the staff, sorry, with the kids' names. I just don't want to like check out and have it be blank on the back. I made a note where it says notes that we want the graduates' names on the back. is like, should I check out? Because I know this date is coming soon for the cover and the.
Yes, go ahead and check out and put that note in the note section so that we know. And then also be sure to send Crystal an email letting her know I've submitted the cover, but we would like the student's name on the back, and then she'll need to send it through prepress, and we'll have to do that for you.
Okay. Thank you.
Did we have any other questions?
Yes.
Okay. You mentioned tagging the students' names and keeping track. How is that done? If you are keeping track of your activity picture,
Like, whoa,
how many times a student is in the book, you'll go here, and when you upload your activity pictures, you'll click on one of your images that you want to tag. And let's say we're going to tag these two little girls here.
No,
You'll
just
click
concerned about
add.
the cholesterol. Is that normal with pediatrics?
Let's see here. You can click on their face and it creates a tag here. And then we're going to add a tag. We're just going to call this one Julie. And we click on that one.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
And then
Okay.
you will see, I'm not sure why that didn't say. Okay.
Have a good
Since
day.
I clicked on their little face, that made that not save there. Okay, done. Now let me refresh. Okay, so then we have a little green tag here, and that now whenever we go to the coverage report, that's going to show you that those two that there's tagged on on images. But we will go over all of that in the next couple of webinars. And yes, this is being recorded, and so we will send this recording and Thursday's recording out later this week or the beginning of next week. Where do we find the pre-designed templates and backgrounds? You'll be in your new page designer and under designs, and you'll find it under page surfer, candids, and so on. Gallery. And then the backgrounds, you'll right click, change background, and then you can choose an image and you can navigate to the folder that your backgrounds you want to use are in. But we'll go over that when we have the designing webinars, or you can call tech support and we'll be happy to walk you through that. Okay, I think that's all the questions we have. So thank you for joining me this afternoon. I hope this webinar has helped to make the Getting Started process not feel so overwhelming. Please join us next week for Working with Portraits. We will be showing you how to organize your class portraits so you can use the auto flow function to build class pages. Have a great day.